Prison family reveals what Todd Chrisley was really like. Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another video. I hope everyone's having a great day. Before watching the video, please subscribe and like it. A family member of someone who was in prison with Todd Chrisley has revealed how the father really was while he was locked up. Fans have been dying to know if Todd was nice or if he caused problems while in federal prison. Well, the family of someone who was in there with him has spoken out on Todd's character and how he treated fellow prisoners. There is a lot to unfold and uncover when it comes to this. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. Todd Chrisley does not mess around. Todd Chrisley was in federal prison for about 2 years before he was pardoned by Donald Trump. He tried to stay drama-free while he was locked away. However, he did have to put someone in their place. One of the prisoners was talking badly about Savannah and what she was doing to try and get her parents released. Todd revealed that he went off on the dude and threatened him. This was the only altercation Todd had with someone. However, after he threatened the other prisoner, it never happened again. Fans have been wondering if anything else happened. Prison family reveals what he was really like. Chase Chrisley has revealed what a prisoner's family member had to say about Todd Chrisley and how he was in prison. My brother was locked up with Todd Chrisley, and the whole time my brother was locked up with him, he said that he would help people out, put money on people's commissary. He also paid for some of the men's families to be able to travel to visit them. He helped an elderly man learn how to read. The whole time he was there, he was never in a single fight or caused any issues in their pod. At any time, if anyone needed anything, Todd really took care of everybody and made sure that everybody was straight. The family had all good things to say about Todd and the kind of person he was. Chase was not shocked in the slightest that this is what people had to say about his father. It seems as though Todd was a great guy while in prison. However, this did not shock Chase at all because he claims this is what kind of person his father is. Fans loved hearing that people had positive things to say about Todd and how he was in prison. The Chrisley Knows Best saga continues to unfold beyond the glitz and glamour of reality television as whispers from within the prison walls begin to paint a new portrait of the show's once untouchable patriarch Todd Chrisley, long known for his razor-sharp wit designer wardrobe and no-nonsense approach to parenting. Todd had become a larger-than-life figure who commanded the screen with ease, but now a very different picture is emerging from those who shared time with him, not on camera, but behind bars. These voices are beginning to speak out with their own stories, their own truths, and their own version of who Todd Chrisley really was once the spotlight faded and the prison gates closed. According to multiple accounts from individuals formerly incarcerated alongside Todd Chrisley, the man who America came to know as the flashy Southern dad is far more complex, layered, and in some cases even vulnerable than viewers ever saw on television. Stripped of his designer suits, luxury cars, and high-powered lifestyle. Sources say Todd became just another inmate trying to survive the rigid and often dehumanizing realities of prison life, where fame holds little value and reputation can be both a shield and a weapon depending on who you ask. One former cellmate who has since been released described Todd as guarded at first, but slowly revealing himself to be someone deeply affected by his circumstances, constantly thinking of his family, and visibly shaken by the drastic fall from grace. While some expected Todd to enter the prison system with arrogance, entitlement, or even celebrity bravado, many were surprised to find that he kept largely to himself for the first several weeks, choosing observation over engagement and offering politeness rather than privilege. Sources inside say he followed the rules, quietly avoided unnecessary attention, and steered clear of any behavior that could be seen as superior or condescending in an environment where perceived weakness can become a liability and showbooting can attract danger. Todd reportedly kept his focus on his daily tasks, his limited phone calls, and whatever updates he could get about Julie, Savannah, and the rest of his children on the outside. Over time, however, Todd began to open up to a select few who earned his trust, and according to those individuals, the version of Todd that slowly emerged was someone grappling with overwhelming guilt a deep sense of loss, and a profound yearning for redemption. Insiders recall late-night conversations in which Todd would talk openly about his fears for his family, particularly the younger kids, and Julie's health battles, which weighed on him more heavily than anything else. He reportedly spoke often of his desire to reconnect with his faith, rebuild trust within his family, and one day tell the story of what really happened, not through the lens of tabloids or social media, but in his own words on his own terms. There were also moments of levity. Sources say despite the weight of his situation, Todd's humor never completely disappeared, and he would occasionally break the tension with a well-timed joke or a sarcastic comment about the bland prison food or the absurdity of celebrity gossip being passed around. Even in prison, his charisma remained intact, but it was tempered by a growing humility that many say made him more human, more relatable, and even more respected among his fellow inmates. Several former inmates claim that Todd never used his fame to demand special treatment and instead made a conscious effort to stay grounded, often offering words of encouragement to others who were also struggling with separation from their families or the harshness of prison life. However, not all accounts paint a rosy picture of the fallen reality star. While some say Todd adjusted relatively well, others describe him as occasionally withdrawn, emotionally volatile, and at times overwhelmed by the psychological strain of incarceration. There are reports of nights spent silently staring at the ceiling during lockdowns or moments when he became visibly emotional while reading letters from home or listening to Savannah's voice over the phone. The juxtaposition of his once glamorous public image against the bleakness of prison reality reportedly took a toll on his mental health, something that even the most composed individuals would struggle with after such a dramatic reversal of fortune. Former inmates also described Todd as someone deeply spiritual who often spent time reading scripture or writing in a journal during recreational hours. He reportedly leaned into his faith as a way to cope with his environment, using prayer and meditation as a mental escape from the harsh confines of the facility. One source said Todd would occasionally host small prayer circles with other inmates, especially those who were facing difficult news from home or struggling with their own legal outcomes. According to those same sources, his words during these informal gatherings were often less about preaching and more about offering hope, resilience, and the importance of never letting go of your identity despite the uniform you are forced to wear. Inmates also noted Todd's fierce loyalty to his wife Julie and their shared ordeal, even when conversations veered into the complicated dynamics of prison relationships. Todd reportedly never wavered in his devotion, often referring to Julie as his soulmate and expressing immense frustration that they were separated during such a pivotal moment in their lives. He believed that the emotional toll of their separation was part of the punishment, and many say he worried more for her than for himself, often inquiring about her well-being through the limited communication channels available to them. Despite the environment, Todd reportedly kept his dignity intact and remained focused on self-preservation and emotional survival, which is not an easy feat in a system that often grinds down the spirit and hardens the soul. His commitment to maintaining a semblance of normalcy through daily routines, journaling, prayer, and conversations about life beyond prison walls offered a glimpse into the resilience that helped him endure the public backlash, the legal turmoil, and the personal losses he faced since the scandal erupted. Still, as more former inmates step forward with their experiences, it becomes clear that the Todd Chrisley who existed in prison was in many ways a reflection of the man America never got to see on reality television. He was not always loud, confident, or in control. In fact, he was often quiet, introspective, and unsure of what the future would hold. Yet, despite the pain and the fear, he seemed to carry a steady belief that his story was not over, that redemption was possible, and that the Chrisley family legacy could still be rewritten with grace instead of scandal. Now that both Todd and Julie have become the focus of countless headlines, documentaries, and social media debates, the revelations from inside prison walls are more relevant than ever for fans trying to understand what truly happened to the couple who once embodied aspirational family life and Southern glamour. The contrast between what aired on television and what reportedly happened behind the scenes is stark, but perhaps it is that very contrast that reveals the most authentic version of Todd Chrisley, not the reality star or the felon, but the human being caught in the middle of a life-altering reckoning that has forced him to confront the truths that fame can never shield you from. As the world waits to see what comes next for the Chrisley family, one thing is certain: the voices emerging from the shadows of their prison chapter are offering a compelling narrative of resilience, faith, and transformation. Whether or not the public is ready to embrace this new version of Todd remains to be seen, but for now his story continues to unfold, not on a reality show set, but in the real world, where the stakes are far higher and the lessons far more profound. While Todd admitted to putting someone in their place while locked up, he was overall a good guy the entire time. What do you think about this situation? Are you surprised that Todd was that nice to other people? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts on this situation. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, America Trends 24, and stay with us.